this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill no one.
Wait a second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. This is Kotobuki Jake, and we're here to show you what we got.
No, it's not for them. It's for us.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
This is ours.
Well, we got some fun stuff to show, and I said, why not make this into a spooky theme? I know you don't usually have enough to do a spooky theme, but you said you did this time, so maybe it's there. Or Halloween-y theme.
I didn't have enough to do a great big pile, but I had enough to at least do the Halloween/spooky theme for a few.
All right. Well, I definitely have enough. You know me and horror collecting.
Yeah.
So the first was a box set, and I chat with David Sterling a lot because he gets a lot of my money.
Mm-hmm.
And he was trying to sell off this box set that he's got, and so he let me pay it off in a couple of installments because I've been hit some hard, and then of course sales hit me again when I had a little money. Gut punch. So he sold me on this one here, the Occultist collection. Now I gotta wonder about this. I was really debating it. I love the artwork on these boxes.
Yeah.
But the problem is
Construction is a little weird.
there's only two. So this one actually I've had for a while, but this will be an upgrade. I also really like the art that they do.
Oh, it's lovely.
This is one that you'd have a hard time with if you can't tell. It's about a bunch of people in a medical school, and they're kind of sacrificing people to Satan. One movie that I have my name on in the Camp Blood series, Camp Blood Kills, this is one of the films that they pull from, which is why I had to get this an axe grinder. So I've seen that. I have not seen Axe Grinder yet. And this one here is the sequel. This one hadn't even gotten out on IMDb yet. Or at least it hadn't from the time I checked. It might be out there now. But again, I don't know anything about this one because I was curious about getting it. I debated getting them separately because I can get these two together without the box for a lot less, but I was like, okay, fine, I will do, because
You like your showy boxes.
well, if the box set does well, he's going to go for a Things movie box set. And that to me would be worth it, because if we get another Things entry, that'll make 6 Things movies. I was told that he'd have the rights to Things 3 back, so I can finally get the title correct, because the title of Things 3, he lost that those rights, so it became something like Deadly something. I've got it, but it's out of print one. But I really would love to have them all just uniform together on Blu-ray. I like all of the movies except for the last 2. 4 was, and 5 was. But I'm hoping that, like Camp Blood, they'll kind of gain their footing again, and Things 6 will be really good. So here's to hoping. So, Occultist collection. I didn't even go full screen for that one.
Yeah, I know. That's weird. So, my first one is someone who generally does have a larger than life persona to fill a full screen, if you will. We said a Halloweeny theme, but as we said, I'm a little short on straight up horror and creepy and that sort of stuff. There are those that might consider this a horror movie, but I call them jerks and assholes. But I'm including it partly because this is a biopic about an individual who loves his costumes. And costumes are a Halloween theme. I finally picked up a copy of Rocket Man. Nice Elton John pick there. Taron Egerton was robbed of an Oscar nod, as we have said before, and the movie was robbed of a costume design nod, as we have said before. But it did win an Oscar for a pretty kick-ass song, so I guess it kind of worked. But biopic about Elton John told in the form of a musical. It's a really good movie, a lot of fun. We've talked about it before. I got an opportunity to get the 4K edition plus Blu-ray, which matters since I don't have a 4K player. But I will eventually. And when it comes to music, high def is the way to go. And, of course, I got a deal on this and then found it on Blu-ray for the same price days later. But, such as it is. There you go.
I put that as one of my highlights of the year when we were talking about it, I think.
Yeah. I think you said that was your favorite.
Yeah, it was a really good one. I like it better than they did with Bohemian Rhapsody, and I prefer Queen over Elton John musically. So it's just kind of but I think that they did that one better.
Partly was because this one had Dexter Fletcher behind the camera from the get-go, and Bohemian Rhapsody had Bryan Singer getting fired what was it, two-thirds of the way through? And Fletcher had to come in and save it.
I have to say, I'm curious how it would be if it was a singular vision the whole way through.
Right.
But hey, you never know. Maybe we'll have another shot. So speaking of something interesting, of course, there was a sale. I didn't buy too much in the sale. Just bought like a couple of things. For the Shout Factory had like a Scream Factory sale for this month.
Yes, and if that had arrived, I would have had more stuff.
Yeah, it hasn't arrived, which is why you're seeing these in the order they're in. Yeah. So I went ahead and I said, okay, I need to track down the sequels to this film. So the first one to arrive by mail was Candyman 3, Day of the Dead. Mm-hmm. So, this one is out of print. Not terribly out of print.
Yeah, it's covered. Not that part, but the other part. That is creepy.
So, Candyman is an interesting one. I'm surprised I hadn't had it yet. So I'm glad I finally got it. And I'll probably be showing off the first one whenever they decide to ship my stuff. Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of glad I got that. I got it really cheap for that one. Then another one I got pretty cheap, and this one is really badly out of print, but it'll match the Scream Factory. Shout Factory, Scream Factory, same thing. Version of Candyman, which is Candyman Farewell to the Flesh, which is the sequel. Some people even feel like this one's scarier than the original. Now, this one has some interesting concepts. I've heard Jordan Peele is planning on doing a revival of the series.
He was working on it, yeah.
So this would be it would be interesting to see his take on it. It's Candyman is it took me a while because I have like a fear of bees, and there's a lot of bees in these movies.
The bees.
So it's a difficult one for me to watch.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy the first one, so I'm looking forward to rewatching it and just going through the trilogy. Maybe I'll do like a movie night with all three of them or something. I don't know when I'll find the time, but if I do, I will do that.
Okay. All right. So my next one is the only other one in this stack that I bought used. And this was also an eBay pickup. It was actually, I think I got about 4 titles maybe from this person, and I don't, at this point, I've kind of forgotten which ones, but I kind of snagged this one out. It's not one that is always considered horror. I think a lot of people would consider it a sci-fi, or it's a horror sci-fi. I mean, it's a pretty unsettling movie, and it's one we've talked about a couple of times in recent Movies Galore and Delusions of Grandeur discussions. It's a sequel to one film that we covered not long ago, and stars someone that I brought up in terms of acting roles that were overlooked for Oscar, and that is the John Goodman starring sequel to Cloverfield, 10 Cloverfield Lane,
Good one.
which I actually did see in theaters, and I loved it. I really did. It's a very tense, claustrophobic, unsettling film, and John Goodman just kicks so much ass in this movie. It's like one of his best roles. And it's kind of tangentially related to Cloverfield, and it's a different creature. Like the film looks and feels different, but there's still enough similarity, I guess. They're both really good in their own right, as we did discuss we had a pretty good talk on Cloverfield, so check it out. And this week we covered Barton Fink, where I talked about Goodman's overlooked roles. So glad to finally have this. I don't know if I'll get to see it anytime soon with the backlog that I'm looking at, and this one could even get a Movies Galore discussion later on of its own. Yeah.
Yeah, those movies were interesting. They went from good to better to terrible.
I haven't seen the third one.
Well, that's all right. You're probably better off. So, now I showed this off last time I got the first film. And I went ahead and I had purchased this because it was about, I think it was under 10. And if the third one goes to that price instead of 20, I will get that as well. And that is Deep Blue Sea 2. Gotta fear them sharks. So again, you got a whole group of people fighting, like, I'm guessing, smart sharks again. Deep Blue Sea 2, Death by Shark. Yes.
Nice.
Indeed. And there's probably a lot of people getting eaten. So let's see here. 19 years ago, the Aquatica project used genetically altered sharks in hopes of developing cutting-edge cures for Alzheimer's disease. Because that makes sense. They came close to achieving their goal, but unforeseen tragedy derailed the experiment. Now, pharmaceutical billionaire Carl Durant is determined to revive the research of the undersea laboratory with former Navy SEAL Trent Slater and scientist Daniel and Leslie Kim already on board. Durant hopes to
Navy SEAls.
Shark conservationist Misty Calhoun into the team. But Calhoun is shocked to learn that the company is using unpredictable and highly aggressive bull sharks, the most lethal predators in the sea, as its test subjects. Before long, drug-enhanced sharks, led by den mother Bella, are growing smarter, quicker, and much deadlier.
Ooh.
As we would expect of drug-enhanced sharks. I mean, you know.
Are they growing horns as they render better and better?
Maybe.
They are bull sharks, after all.
Mixing them with actual bull DNA.
Right. Okay. So, my next one is actually one I've been sitting on for a bit that I want to say it was a Best Buy pickup, but it might have been Right Stuff. I can't remember. I just know I got it for like $10, which I was like, well, that's a pretty good deal. And that is one of our small number, the first season rather, of one of the small number of, but growing number of anime, which may or may not truly be anime, I guess, depending on the series, but anime that are Netflix originals. And this is the first season, which I've actually seen a couple episodes, and I quite liked it, of the show Castlevania.
Ah, yes.
And as you can tell from the cover, it's got some pretty nice art. And actually, I like this cover because it reminded me of something that I probably would not have thought of right away, and I might forget it tomorrow. I guess last night for you viewers that are watching this when it airs, maybe, because we'll be discussing on Movies Galore the Robert Rodriguez Quentin Tarantino classic From Dusk Till Dawn. And in that film, there's a character named Sex Machine played by Tom Savini, who uses a whip. And supposedly that was a direct reference to Castlevania. So I like that they had the whip on the cover here. It reminded me to bring that up. And maybe I'll remember tomorrow. Who knows? But I do want to watch this whole thing from the start. What I saw was promising. So look forward to it.
Yeah, I've seen the first season. I haven't watched the second. I have that, and there's a third out, and that's coming soon.
I've never been as much of a gamer as this one, but I do have fond memories of Castlevania from when I was a kid.
And it's a good song by the Rebel Gaming Club.
Right.
So, Charles Band, an interesting individual, founder of Full Moon Full Moon Features, creator of Puppet Master. Well, he has one that I got out of a sale that they did a while back called Doll Graveyard. Looks creepy, doesn't it? I mean, it's...
That one on the back looks like he's from Pinata Survival Island.
See, it's 1905 when 12-year-old Sophia plays all by herself in her big creepy house with only 4 handmade dolls as friends. When her abusive father has finally had enough, he forces her to bury them in the backyard. But after she slips and breaks her neck, Dad buries her right along with the dolls. As you do.
Oh, boy.
100 years later, the Philbrook family moves into the very same house. Guy Philbrook finds the buried dolls while playing in the backyard. What is he, like, playing with a backhoe? Much like Sophia, Guy has no friends and is the constant source of harassment from Tom and Rich. After Sophia's spirit possesses the dolls, they come to life, protecting Guy from further harm. One night, Guy's sister Dee Dee has a party with her best friends Terry and Olivia. After smoking and drinking with the boys, the dolls stand up for Guy once and for all, violently showing the nasty teenage boys who's boss. So, yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I always like these. They're kind of creative. I mean, I don't know. Have you watched any of like the Puppet Master stuff?
Not really.
I don't know. Have you seen any Charles Band? He did some Empire stuff. He did like some sci-fi features. He's done a whole bunch of things like Doll Man and.
I know the name. I know you guys have talked about him.
We have to have some of his stuff on the show one of these days.
Yeah.
Oh,
I guess.
Actually, Empire is behind Troll.
Oh, that might be where I heard about it.
But I don't think he was directly influencing it, but I know that Empire was related to that.
Okay. Good times. Speaking of good times, As you all know by now, I'm not, as a rule, a big booster for zombie films. But I will admit, sometimes they bring out the talent, and sometimes you get a good product. So when you have a film directed by Mark Forster, of all people, co-written by Drew Goddard and Damon Lindelof, based on a best-selling book, and starring Brad Pitt, how could you go wrong? I got a shockingly good deal. It's like $4 for a brand new Steelbook edition of World War Z. And this is one that I needed to add to the collection, and to add it on Steelbook for that price, I was like, hell yeah. I did actually enjoy the film. It wasn't my favorite zombie film, but it's really well done. And that, of course, is a critical element for me. But I was happy to get that. I put a bid in thinking, no way I'm going to get it. You never know.
Well,
Yeah.
I like it myself. I know that Kim likes it very much. She likes that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of awesome movies, we have another one from SRS Entertainment. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but one of our people that we get into Anhedenia Pictures, they use them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And they put out a lot of independent projects. So this underground movie called Easter Bunny Bloodbath. I think it could be Easter or Halloween, really, if you look at it. So as you can see on the back
For kids.
stuff there, you got the woman with the carrots in her eyes. You can see him garroting a girl on there. Bunny mask. So 1967, young Peter McKay's sister is decapitated by an axe-wielding maniac dressed as the Easter Bunny. That's all you really need to know, right? Peter never celebrates the Easter holiday again.
I wonder why.
So we flash forward to present day in 1987. It's here in an isolated cabin deep in the woods. Peter and his 5 friends enjoy their weekend away. It's nice few days of partying, beer, and water slides. But something white and fuzzy lurks between the trees this holiday season. It's almost shaped up to be like a Silent Night, Deadly Night type scenario, you know?
Something white and fuzzy, huh?
So, I don't know. I like movies like this that are just kind of strange and crazy. And this would be,
sounds strange.
it looks like low budget camp that's just going to be fun. That just in general more than it is disturbing. I'll let you on.
Okay, so as it turns out, after just telling you all how much I'm not really a zombie person, I have 2 zombie movies to present in a row. And one thing they have in common is, really? That's the director? Because again, here you got Mark Forster, the guy behind Finding Neverland, The Monsters Ball, Stranger Than Fiction, The Kite Runner, World War Z. Oh, Spirit wants in. Here you go.
Hello.
But next up, from Jim Jarmusch, the director of Broken Flowers, Dead Man, Down by Law, artsy stuff. We have his zombie film, The Dead Don't Die. This was a blue Best Buy pickup, I know, but I mean, look at that freaking cast. You've got Bill Murray, Adam Driver, Tilda Swinton, Chloe Sevigny, Danny Glover, Steve Buscemi, Caleb Landry Jones, Rosie Perez, Iggy Pop, RZA, Selena Gomez, Sarah Driver, Carol Kane, Tom Waits. You know, that's a heck of a cast. And I've talked about this before. It's a very, 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 very dry meta comedy zombie flick about a small town that's suddenly overrun by the undead. Adam Driver and Bill Murray. Murray's the sheriff, and Driver is his deputy. And Driver takes on the role that Murray does in most films of sort of the sardonic kind of, snarky voice of reason, if you will. He's the one who's read the script, so he knows what's going to happen. And you got a whole bunch of other folks. Also, Sturgill Simpson, a country singer, shows up as a zombie at one point. But his song, "The Dead Don't Die," is a constant refrain in the film. And this movie should have at least been up for original song. But it was good times. It was good times. And this is one I'll be putting forward for the group one of these days.
Yeah, I need to see that one. I remember hearing a lot about it when it came out, too. Oh, well. It's not like I don't have a lot of movies that I would say that I should really see that one.
Well, hell, I got a bunch of Jim Jarmusch films I need to watch at this point.
So, I don't know if this, and maybe you can help me with this, or those of you watching, if you're longtime viewers, maybe you can tell me if I picked this one up, because I've had it for a while, and I know one of these items, these two items, is one that I haven't picked up, when I done a pickup, but I could never remember whether this movie I actually did, and that is the Army of Darkness Steelbook. Now, this one is kind of cool. It's a limited edition, 10,000 made. It's got the regular version, the theatrical, the director's cut, and the international cut of the film. Boatload of extras there. It's a cool Shout Factory steelbook as well. This one is the third of the Evil Dead trilogy, which is a comedy with some slight horror elements to it. It's probably my first exposure to the Evil Dead, and to Ash, and it was great. I really liked it. I remember when it was in theaters and I went to see it. It was just cool. I really enjoyed it. It's more of a fantasy, dark fantasy. That's the word, with a lot of comedic elements to it. So, I don't know whether I've shown this before, but there's a method to my madness. So, I'll get the first one on Steelbook as well. But then the second one I could only get on German Steelbook. FYE had a Steelbook release of the second film, but it's limited run, and it was still expensive. But then Best Buy came out with this, which I've been told is fairly limited, which has the first two movies on it. Now, this trilogy is finally complete in Steelbook format, and I have all of the Evil Dead stuff in Steelbook because I have all 3 seasons of Ash vs. Evil Dead on Steelbook as well.
Nice.
Now, these are actually Ultra because these are 4K. And so Evil Dead is a Sam Raimi classic, and it is indeed a horror film. I know that Dave and the rest of us were talking about it a while back, and we were debating whether they were like horror films or all horror comedies. Like, no. First one was truly a horror film. Matter of fact, watching Night of the Demons still reminds me a lot of the Deadites. Though they're not quite as Deadite-like as they are in the second and third film. The second and third Night Demon films they're just all over the place type demons. Now, the first film here, though, is a true, like, horror film. You've seen the first film. Actually, you've seen all 3, right?
Yeah, I have.
So, I'll put you on here. So, to me, like, my thought is the first one is a horror film, just straight up horror. Second film is a horror comedy. And the third film is kind of a dark fantasy with comedy in it. What are your thoughts?
A third one's almost a comedy straight up. It's more like a comedy fantasy. But you're right, kind of a dark with horror elements. Yeah.
because the second one was probably the most balanced of them, because it definitely had the horror element still there, but it was not straight horror. It had some very comedic elements
Right.
throughout. So, and it's kind of a transformation from sort of an innocent young individual, or the original Ash, to the Ash we all know and love.
Was he ever truly innocent?
I don't know. He was Ashley in the first film, so maybe. Wait until you see my last one. I think you're going to have fun with that last one. You're going to be
Good times. Good times. So my next one's probably my biggest one, and it's probably the one that I had the least true familiarity with. I mean, again, I saw a couple episodes of Castlevania, but I think it's a 4-episode series. Like, it's not a long show. This one, by contrast, I've seen about 2 episodes out of 37, not counting the part that's not here. And I've read the first 2 Tankobon volumes of the comedy spin-off manga, Junior High. But I finally picked up, because I finally got a really good price. Funimation was trying to milk this thing for all it was worth. I ended up waiting for the condensed releases and getting a really good price on Right Stuff. I got season 1, Attack on Titan, and season 2, Attack on Titan. And they're nice and condensed and don't take up a whole lot of space. And they still look good. They're not as fancy as the limited sets, sadly, but I'd much rather do this than buy 4 pieces at more than each one of these cost. Yeah. But he showed me, I think, the first 2 episodes, and from what I saw, this looks like a good show.
good.
It looks like, what's that?
Good music too.
Yeah. It's got a very distinct art style that's very different from what I was used to. I don't know that I'm going to enjoy it thoroughly. I imagine there are elements that I will be displeased with, but it does make for, the first couple episodes do make for a great start. This is one of the most talked about shows of the last 10 years, and I'm sure there's a reason for it. And like I said, the Junior High spinoff was flippin' hilarious. But so at the very least, I kind of know most of the characters' names, although I probably have seen a very different portrayal of them.
There 3 seasons have been released, and there's like
Yeah.
1 season left to be released.
Right.
And I've got the first 2 myself, but I need to get the 3rd one. I just need a price that's cheap enough. And then when the 4th one's done, at least we can say that the series is done. It's not going to go on forever, which Lord knows about some of these. Like Boruto. Actually, I don't know whether you probably did talk about this on your portion of the new release video, but the Naruto coming to Blu-ray and
I saw that.
that's set. So I mean, that's kind of nice. Following in Bleach.
Although they're only putting out 1 volume, whereas like Funimation's like tripling up on your Dragon Ball Z Steel books. It's like, yes, everyone's going to rush out and get 3 of them in 1 week.
Well, you saw that they did like a similar release to My Hero Academia with a big old pen for Goku for Super for the first 3 volumes for like $67. But to me, it's not as good a deal because unlike My Hero Academia, where those season sets have maintained a pretty high price point,
Right.
Dragon Ball Super you can get relatively cheap per season. So to me, you're only paying that extra money for the pen. And unlike the My Hero Academia ones, it's reflective because a lot of times I go to Walmart, I see those things still sitting on the shelves. Well, my last one, which I know that you're going to be loving, because it involves a X-Strike Studio alum.
Oh.
So we were looking at it, and I saw the first film of this. I think it was on Netflix. I saw this a while back. And I said, you know what? I need to watch more of this. And I found a copy for $5. And that is the Filthy McNasty Quadrilogy.
Oh, God.
So, so it has Filthy McNasty, Filthy McNasty,
Filthy Big Nasty.
then Filthy McNasty Est, and then finally Filthy McNasty 4, Carnal Holocaust,
Oh dear God.
which is the only full-length feature. The others are like less. Each one of them is less than an hour. Though they each get a little bit longer each time, then jumps like from
They're still
47
too long.
to 49 to 57, then straight up to 81 minutes.
Oh God.
The original was an outlet. I think you saw the original, didn't you?
Yeah, no, we watched it as a group with the gaming group. I remember that George thought it was too bad. No, it wasn't up to snuff.
The outlandish tale of two nerdy chicks whose greatest wish come true when a horny demon named Phil turns them into sexy sirens.
Sounds better than it is.
Yeah, I know. But hey, I've got 4 of them.
Well, I know you had to put it in the collection eventually. I know.
Didn't the director of this direct River City Rumble?
I can't remember. I know he was involved. Yeah.
Oh, well, it's fun. Well, that's my last one.
All right.
You.
Well, I'm going to end us on some quality of a different sort.
Nasty quality.
Well, this is a film that I was introduced to watching previews. And people knock previews, but sometimes you learn about cool shit you never would have heard of otherwise. And I watched this and I was like, holy crap, I've got to see that movie. And I remember telling you, I don't think you saw the preview when I did. I think I told you about it, but you can tell me if I'm wrong. But this was another eBay pickup. It's one I think it might have been Amazon, but it's one I've been eyeing for a while. I finally said, screw it, I'm going to pull the trigger. And it's a film directed by Marjan Satrapi, the writer-director of Persepolis, both the graphic novel and the movie. And, writer, artist of the novel, and you know what I mean. But anyway, and this is a very peculiar film that stars a younger, more innocent Wade Wilson, an evil Scottish cat, and a talking dog, and that is The Voices. But I really do think this is a perfect companion piece to Deadpool. I think this was like Ryan Reynolds trying to scratch that itch while he was waiting to get that movie made. But basically, he plays a mild-mannered, I believe it's a bathtub warehouse, wears that horrid bubblegum pink outfit. And he voices his pet dog and his pet cat. And his cat is evil and Scottish. And his dog is like the kind of dim-witted but generally good. So they're like the angel and devil on his, on his shoulders, and he has conversations with them. And he has a crush with his coworkers, played by Gemma Arterton. And the film also features Anna Kendrick, Jackie Weaver, and some pretty crazy stuff. Needless to say, his cat mostly doesn't always have his best interests at heart. And definitely not those of his lady friends. And this is a dark, twisted, bloody movie that I am extremely happy that it exists. I wish it was more awesome than it is, but still, I had to get it.
Sounds like fun.
Oh, yeah.
I've got it too. I just haven't watched it yet.
You haven't watched it at all?
No.
We got to get on that. Actually, this is another one I might put up with the group.
It's all about timing. It's just like this coming week. For those of you who are watching Inside Movies Galore, you're going to be seeing a lot of these things upcoming. we're going to be discussing things, but I'm going to have some martial arts films to watch.
Mm-hmm.
One of which I know is going to be Bloodsport. I'm pretty sure that, because that's the highest of the. If we had 4 feature films in November,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been the 4th one. So I'm pretty sure that even if voting changes things at this point, because Monday night, I'm just going to shut off the voting because we haven't had any voting activity for 2 days now, other than, well, our crew, because the last person voted. Yeah, it's so I'm probably going to wrap it a little bit early, but it looks interesting. I think we're going to have some fun tonight.
Yep.
With that being said, I hope you all have enjoyed this. Click that like button, hit that subscribe, and of course, share. What have you picked up? I mean, we're always curious. We like to do this. We like to look at what other people see. This is why we do this. I mean, I watch pickup videos on the internet all the time. And
Does it meet the Filthy McNasty standard?
it has to be at least as good as Filthy McNasty, or it doesn't qualify. Oh, actually,
Does it meet the Adventureland standard? What's that?
A number of low budget horror this time around.
You did. I had higher budget horror for the most part.
Oh well,
or at least classier.
Well, we're gonna get some. We're gonna get some. Not so much. I think next week we're going to be a little bit more interesting when it comes. I think we'll try for a pickup video. I don't know. Do you think you'll be able to do a pickup video next week?
As far as I know.
At least the pickup video, and then things might even out with time. Maybe things will be, or at least get to be more manageable time-wise, a little bit more.
Right.
So with that being said, I hope you're having a good one, and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.